Hello, I'm Jamie.
Hello, I'm Mark, and it's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Dash says hello too.
He's more saying, please can you throw my toy, but whatever.
It's Tuesday night, it's 7:30.
It's time for episode 100 on Through the Garden Gate.
100.
Talking of 100 episodes, it's my birthday tomorrow.
Hello, Jamie.
100.
And 80.
180. 100!
I've got mud all over my face. I've just been playing with a little baby puppy Rottweiler, and she's beautiful.
Nice.
And she was jumping all over my face.
Hi, Jamie.
Hello.
Remember what I said last week? It's my birthday eve.
Of course I remember.
Yeah.
Not today, though.
Not today, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
What are you tomorrow? 7 or 8?
No, 10.
I know, mate. I know.
I know.
You looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Good.
The bouncy castle's coming, so we're having a bouncy castle, and it's coming at between 8 o'clock and 7:30.
Okay.
But me and my dad and my mum will probably be up at 6 o'clock, opening my presents, Dad.
Yay.
Love that. I guess you got a day off, Mark.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got a day off.
Day off to enjoy the festivities.
Day off, and you still got to be up at about 6:30.
Dad, you
Every day
need
of
to
the year.
connect. Dad, you need to connect your phone to the bouncy castle.
So we can dance.
Yeah.
It's also going to be like absolutely sweltering hot tomorrow as well. Which will be
It is,
fun.
yeah.
32.
I'm going to bounce from the paddling pool into the bouncy castle.
I think you'll need to. It's going to be really hot.
It's going to be mega.
Yeah, it's 32 tomorrow, Jamie.
That's not good.
Today.
It's too much.
At least I'm not working in it.
Yeah, that's the
at
difference.
least.
That is the difference.
You
If you can
back
sit
my
and enjoy it.
birthday, Dad.
Yeah. I'll sit
Yeah.
with a cold beverage.
Exactly. That's the
Right.
one. I think there's another birthday coming up soon as well, George, isn't there? I don't think that's long. That's only a week or two.
2 more
2
birthdays.
weeks.
2 more birthdays. My dad's and my mum's.
Somebody's got a bit of a special one soon, though, I think.
Yeah, 30.
No, 40.
Nearly got away with it.
40. Yeah,
Oh, dear.
Mum just came on and said, and me.
And me.
Day after me. August is the birthday month.
It is in your
especially
family,
when
isn't
it's
it?
my birthday and I'm going to be 10. So
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, I'm not very organised. I have no tripod.
what are you doing? Just
Wi-Fi.
holding your phone then?
I am, yeah, just holding it. Look. Our
Random-
tripod,
random from the
our
pub.
internet
Did
is
you run
gone
from the pub?
haywire. I haven't been to the pub.
pub?
No, I've been to friends looking at their puppy. I just told you that.
Oh, I didn't know whether it was at the pub, the puppy.
No, we did have a beer though.
George's birthday.
You're doing your garden, in fact.
Yep, garden.
Yes.
You actually have to give it to me.
I've given.
So it says, studies show that 68% of people aged 18 to 34 love to garden,
Yeah.
As opposed.
as opposed 24%
No.
of
2.
only 24% of people aged 35 to 44.
So we're saying that the younger people prefer to garden, and then they go off the idea when they get a bit older.
Yeah.
Either that or the
You've gone off gardening.
No. The younger generation are getting into gardening more than people aged 35 to 44.
Oh, if the study has only just started, yeah.
So obviously, in a few years' time, that might change.
Hey, we've got
Yeah.
our gherkins.
After years of all the weeding, Ali said. Yeah, get
Yeah,
bored,
give up.
bored of
10
weeding.
years in and give up.
10 years of what, me?
10 years of gardening.
Gardening's not enjoyable. All it is pulling blooming weeds all the time.
Watching plants die.
Yeah.
And going through horrible seasons.
Right, off you go. See you in the morning.
See you in the
Have a
morning.
fantastic day tomorrow,
Yeah,
George.
Dad, you better say happy birthday to me in the morning.
Of course he will. We all will.
Well,
Have a good day tomorrow, mate.
I will.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye. See you next week when I'll be 10.
It's 9.
God, he's not too excited, is he?
Not too much. I'm sure I'll be awake before 6 o'clock. That's for sure.
I feel you will. God.
Which will be fun.
Yeah. I do want that hat, or one like it anyway.
This one's getting a bit raggedy. It's starting to fall apart. I think it's where it's got wet. It's
That's
started
where
to
they look good though, when they're all them ones are all
Yeah.
a bit spiky and a
bit
bit
trashed.
Yeah.
Bit dog-eared on the edges. Look.
Exactly. That's what you want. Yeah. So our guest has just sent me a WhatsApp message and saw it pop up. He said his signal's not good enough, so he's going to run back in. So he was out. He was going to go in the woods, but it's not working. So we'll have to wait a few minutes.
He'll be back. Where's
But
your tripod?
I haven't got a clue. I thought it was still here from last week, but I've obviously picked it up and used it somewhere and can't remember where it is.
What have you been filming this week?
I don't really know. Not a lot, to be honest.
I can't think what you've actually put on this week. Your watering thing was last week.
I haven't done a great deal. I've been a bit busy, to be honest. I didn't even have anything to send to you to put on your new thing. Well, new old thing. Old new thing.
Old new thing.
Yeah. What have you been doing at work then? Same old?
Today we started weeding. We finished weeding one of the big beds, which was one of the beds that we started on early in the year to get back into order, and it's looking lovely. I've put a few bits on Instagram of it, so people have probably seen it. We finished that today. Done some tree pruning. Some of the willows that I was trying to cut round were hanging down too low, so they just needed a quick prune.
Yeah.
So they've gone a bit wild. And then whilst I was walking past where the stream was, I noticed that the stream was completely dried up today.
Yeah.
And I've never, ever seen it completely dried up.
It is a bit of an exceptional year, isn't it?
In 13 years, I've never seen it that low. It's been low that we can't get water from it before, but never that there is no water whatsoever left. And then also, when I was looking at it, I noticed that in the puddle, it was going absolutely crazy. Like there was flies all over the top of this little puddle that was left. And I got in there and had a look, and it was absolutely swarming with fish. Tiny little baby fish in this, little puddle about this big.
Did you save them?
We went and got a bucket, and the gardening drugs.
Yeah.
We filled 2 bucketfuls of fish out of that tiny little puddle.
Did you put them in your pond or take them somewhere else?
We just put them in the pond because those sort of fish are in the pond anyway. We've only got like native species, so we just chucked them in the pond.
I suppose they will. They'll just keep in the wet bit all the way, won't they?
Yeah, but then
Tomorrow that puddle will probably be gone, so you've saved 1,000 fish maybe.
And all sorts else. There was boatmen. There was all sorts of life in there.
Yeah.
And you just think how many other places around the country where there's stuff like that happening and stuff's just getting wiped out. All those reservoirs and stuff that have dried up. Think of how much life there is in those. Because where there's water, there's life.
Of course there is, yeah, definitely. Our little stream is not dried up, but I don't think I've ever seen it that low.
No, because you said previous summers that it doesn't actually drop that much at all. It
Keep going because It's controlled by a weir up the other end of the village. There's Gayton Hall Estate, and they've got lakes, and there's they have a
Like a sluice.
yeah, that's exactly that. So they can keep their lakes high, but when it gets too high, they can open that and let it rush down our river, stream, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it's not coming over the little weir anymore. It's not. It's just come. What's flowing down there now is what's coming off the fields,
Right.
not the main bit. So it doesn't really look like it's flowing. It's just really
Just
slow.
sat.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the first time I've ever thought, oh God, my pump might not work soon. If you
Yeah.
can.
The water. Have to run a hose pipe.
Exactly. So I filled the water, but up brimmed it today.
Yeah, safe bet.
Yeah, definitely. Mm.
But it's going to take a hell of a lot of rain now to sort that out.
To catch up. Yeah, it's yeah. I don't think I can remember a summer like it, to be honest.
No, I mean the rain we had a few weeks ago has kept us going for the last 3 weeks, but it didn't make up for how dry it had been before that.
No.
The
No.
crazy thing is, less than 2 years ago, that stream was in the fields.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Everything's so random at the moment. This flooding one summer and then bloody
Just one extreme or the other, isn't it?
yeah.
You can never predict what it's going to do anymore.
No. Horrendous.
Bit.
They are. I think that's what we've got to live with now. Looking
Well, it's
forward.
like what we were talking about last night with Angie and Ali. You can't predict things. What do you do? Do you plant for dry or do you plant for wet? Because
You can't.
one year is going to be one thing,
You
and the
can't.
next year is going to be something different.
Yeah.
So you almost need to find plants that don't care. Well, they'll be all right in either wet or dry.
Yeah.
Because one year it might be one, the next it might be the other.
Is there such a thing?
There's very tolerant plants, I guess, but
Yeah. Hey, sissy.
it's gonna really narrow what you're able to grow.
Mm.
Because a lot of the time, the things that like things dry definitely don't like to be wet.
No, definitely not. Chard, and more chard.
Although chard's been
My
pretty
chard's
good,
been bolting. That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
mine's been bolting all the time. I've planted
Hey, Marlow.
so many different bits. I've got chard on the go all the time. Every time one bolts, I'll put another one in again.
Yeah, yeah.
Because otherwise, you won't have any for the winter.
I've got a bolted one down there now. Look.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's a couple down there which are still doing all right, but I've got some more tiny ones up the other end because they're just going to bolt as well.
Yeah. Well, I pulled one out at the weekend, and the root of it was like a beetroot. It was
Yeah,
that
they are.
huge.
But they're not normally like that until you overwinter them. I've
Yeah,
had them, so I leave them, and then the next spring they're big, massive, chunky beetroots, aren't they? But
yeah,
it's all happening too early, too quick.
yeah. They're going through their life processes just really quickly, aren't they? Because I
Yeah,
mean, they were only planted 2 or 3 months ago,
exactly.
and they're already that size.
But it's not the whole watering thing. People say, oh, it's because it's not watered enough. Mine are getting lots of water. They're getting gallons. It's the heat.
It's the heat during the day.
Yeah,
Because I mean, it doesn't matter how much you water stuff, like squash and stuff. During the day when it's that hot, the squash just droops, and it doesn't
yeah,
matter how much water it's had. As soon as the sun goes down, the leaves pick up again. They just
yeah.
can't cope with that heat.
No. Oh, it's not good. Not good. But they are. Never
What will
mind.
next year bring us? Will we have a wet summer, or will we have another hot one?
I don't know. I've been sowing lots of seeds. I know you mentioned last night, and so did Angie. Ali didn't. Ali ain't sown anything.
That's
But
because Ali's supposed to be moving.
but I've sown, pretty much the mix of what both you and Angie said. Everything from Mitsuna to, oh my God, kohlrabi, everything. I must have sown 30 different types of things to get me through now and for over a winter and in the polytunnel.
Yeah. You done any microtoms?
No. What, to grow over the winter?
Yeah, Niall was saying if you sow micro tomatoes now, you'll have them through the winter.
To keep in the polytunnel or indoors? Because I'm not bothered
Indoors, I
about
think I would have said.
Yeah, I'm not fussed about having them indoors, to be honest.
I guess you could grow, like, if you've got a windowsill, grow one. But they're not massive producers. Well, haven't been either, really.
I did have a good old harvest not long, was it, 2 weeks ago, and there's plenty back on there again now.
Yeah. I don't
I
know whether
suppose I
I've just not potted them on these big enough pots, but I think if they're going to be on my windowsill, they need to be.
can't be too big, can they?
Yeah. I've just put them in those metal
Niall
tomato
said,
cubes.
in the house over winter. Yeah.
Niall, how big a. Neil, should I say? How big a pot do they need to be in?
I try and say Neil all the time, but it's Niall. Yeah, I
It's
can't. I just can't. But he doesn't mind. Honestly, I've said to him so many times. He said, "Don't worry, it's fine." Marlow, I know you're in now. We'll give us a minute, and then we'll get you in. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to 2 or 3 litre.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to winter now with the polytunnels and see what we can, what we can grow for over winter.
Well, that's a 2 litre pot, so you could go one bigger than that then.
Yeah. Oh, I might do some then. Teresa's not keen on plants and pots all over windowsills. That's the
We'll
only
have to get a
thing.
nice decorative pot to put it in.
Yeah, I suppose so. If you look after it and make it look nice, it's all right, I guess. Yeah.
Because you ain't got a conservatory or anything, have you? You've only got
No.
windowsills.
He also answers to Nigel. Bloody hell.
Nigel?
Nigel. Niall does. Neil, Niall, Nigel. Either.
How do you get Nigel out of that?
Oh dear. Right, let's get our guest in because we're a bit late.
Tonight's guest is part of a team of foraging experts guiding people on which plants and mushrooms they can eat. With over 70,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel, they also do recipes and much more. Let's welcome Marlow from Wild Food UK.
Hello. Sorry about
Yay!
that, gentlemen.
No.
Ta-da!
I did say that I wasn't used to doing Instagram podcasts. This is a new thing for me. How are we, gentlemen?
Yeah, not bad. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not so bad, not so bad. I was hoping to do this outside where the amazing mushrooms in my garden are, but the connection wasn't quite good enough. So I thought I'd move it. I'd built myself a beautiful set outside.
Oh,
But then when you guys were having your lovely chit chat, it kept breaking up. So I figured I'd
oh
come
dear.
inside and do it.
It
You can
happens,
see
mate.
me
Don't worry.
okay, and you can hear me okay though now. Yeah,
Yeah, it's all good. It's perfect.
good stuff. Well, quick sip of beer and then we're ready.
Well done. I've just
Yeah,
had mine. I haven't brought one with me, to be honest. I can't have another one. I won't be able to talk.
well, it helps me. I heard you talking about how dry it's been. Yes, what?
Oh, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
obviously that's hit our gardens horrendous. Just water after water after water. But what's it done for all the wild pickings then?
Well, I've kind of given up on my garden, to be honest. The only thing that's doing well in my garden is the grapes in the greenhouse, and yeah, for foraging, it's meant two things. It's meant that the plants and the mushrooms have had a pretty awful year in general, but fruit has had the best year I can ever remember. All kinds of fruit, from bilberries to pears and mulberries to elderberries. They're all doing better than I've ever seen. They're all more abundant and they're earlier. So I actually saw a load of sloes that were already ready this year, so we might be able to make some sloe gin early for Christmas.
I've noticed loads of slows.
Yeah.
I've seen sloes in the woodland at work, and I thought when I looked at it, it looked like grapes. There was that many sloes on the tree. They were
They're
in all
big
the
as well,
grapes.
aren't they?
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah.
Well, they do hybridise, so there's a chance that you might be looking at sloes that have hybridised with some damsons or whatever. But I did a video on a walnut tree, so it's not just the fruits, the nuts, obviously the fruit too. But I did a video of a walnut tree on YouTube recently, and the walnuts were hanging on the tree like grapes. Every branch on the tree was
Wow.
sagging with the weight of the walnuts. So it's all kinds of fruits doing well, but the plants and the mushrooms, they're suffering quite a lot.
Yeah, I suppose. But is it still a bit early for mushrooms, or would you normally get mushrooms this time of year?
Yeah, if you get a wet August, then it's a fantastic month for mushrooms. Absolutely. I've got a few edibles in front of me. After you texted me earlier and said you're going to do a bit of a show and tell, I went for a quick walk and managed to find three very, very tasty mushrooms in the
Oh
space of
wow.
half an hour. So yeah, there's mushrooms around every month. But autumn is when the majority of them fruit. So there's about 5,000 plus mushrooms in the UK, and probably two-thirds to three-quarters of them come out around late August through to mid-November.
Yeah.
Mushrooms around all year. So in winter, in January, February, you can get your scarlet elf cups and things like that, and then in spring, you've got morels and St. George's mushrooms. And then if you get a wet summer, then some of the best mushrooms come up in summer. So you've got
Mm.
a type of porcini, a type of sep called the summer sep, and chanterelles. They grow from April right through to October if the weather's right.
Oh wow.
So yeah, there's mushrooms around all the time, and yeah, like I say, managed to find a few to show you
I
today.
think I think might mention to you when you because you came to Ely and came on the stage and we done some talks and things and which was absolutely fantastic. But I think I mentioned to you then that in our horse field, which is here now over there, so just over there, not this yeah, so it'd been 18 months ago now in the May of last year. No, the year before, sorry.
Mhm.
We found, or Teresa found some mushrooms and she didn't want them in there because she thought the horse was going to eat them.
Right.
And she brought one to me and said, "Oh look what's grown in the bloody field," and it was a morel.
Oh
And
wow.
she had kicked and snapped about 20 out. She didn't want the horses to eat
You're a
them.
very lucky man. Well, no, maybe not that she'd kick them, but you're a lucky
But
man.
I went down there. I think I got about 20 or 25, and they were absolutely amazing. But they haven't come back since. So we've now had two
We've
Mays
had two
since.
terrible years for morels. It's been well too dry this spring for morels to come up. So if the
Yeah.
conditions aren't right, then mushrooms just have a year off. You
Right.
know.
Okay. So you think they could possibly come back from in the same place,
Absolutely. Well, it depends on the type. Were they growing out of wood chip or just out the grass?
out the grass?
In which case, yes, they'll come back. They're living underground there, so unless you go and use some fungicides or even other chemicals, like pesticides can
No.
kill them. But as long as you're not doing any of that, then yes, they'll come back. If the conditions are right in April and May, then
Yeah.
they'll fruit, and yeah, they're more likely to be the common morel if they're growing in
Right.
grassland. I don't know if you know what sort of trees are growing around there. That could narrow it down a bit.
There's lots of apples, plums, and pears down the side of it, but there's not a great deal else really close, to be honest.
It's going to be the common morel then. And
Yeah.
although common isn't a very nice name, it's a very
No.
tasty, one of the most sought after in the world, Jamie. So
In my field
you're
as
very.
well. But my wife was kicking them and snapping them off because she didn't want the. Oh, couldn't believe it.
Well,
I
that would
couldn't
cause a
believe
lot
it.
of trouble in my house. I can tell you that.
Oh, it weren't far off, let me tell you.
You'll have to fence it off.
Well,
Stop the
I'll keep.
horses them for sure. But tell her to not worry about the horses eating the mushrooms. There's very few that are dangerous for animals, and animals generally they're not silly. If your horses, if they see ragwort growing in the field, they're not going to eat it. And
No.
it's the same with mushrooms.
Yeah.
They're not a danger to the animals really.
Oh, good. I'll reinforce that to her.
Certainly not the morels.
No, good.
Although if you eat them raw, they will make you quite ill. They have to be cooked. Remember
Oh,
that.
do they really?
Yeah, yeah. There's quite a few that if you eat them raw, they're going to make you ill, and morels are one of those.
Okay, that's good to know because I quite frequently just pick things and stick them.
Fair enough. Do that with the fruit. Maybe not with all the fruit, but do it with don't do it with the mushrooms. No.
Don't do it with the
Noted.
either. You'll
Even
break.
these fruit. You all know these. You're looking at these all the
What
time
we
at the
got
moment.
here?
Elderberries,
Elderberries.
not
Yeah.
a little bit early and abundant like everything else. You know, they're poisonous raw.
Hmm.
Are they?
Yeah, they contain cyanogenic glycosides. So if you eat too many of them raw, your body can start to turn them into cyanide inside you, which
Oh
is
my god.
clearly not a very good idea. But
I
those
didn't know anyone.
glycosides, they're totally destroyed by heating or fermenting. So you
Right.
can use them to make your elderberry wines and jams and fruit leathers and things like that. But yeah, don't just press raw elderberry juice. That can make you quite ill.
Okay, that's a great tip.
And a good thing to, you know, just think about it with mushrooms, they all grow on the ground, and you know, unless you know what's been there before, you're probably a good idea to cook it anyway, whether
Yeah.
it's one that can be eaten raw or not. And
Yeah.
really, in all honesty, even the mushrooms you buy in the shops should be cooked because they all contain chitin and another thing called agarotine, which both of them, well, one of them's indigestible, so if you ate too many raw button mushrooms, you could end up a bit bunged up. And agarotine is something that you want to try and cook a little bit to reduce its toxicity, shall we say. So, what I teach people is just cook every mushroom you ever
Yeah.
find. There's
Yeah.
very few that I would ever eat raw.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a raw mushroom, to be honest.
Um,
No. No. So you might have seen before we start on all your show and tell and talk a bit more. You might have seen my story earlier. Well, I know you did because you reposted it. So these, I brought one home. Are on my muck heap. What are they?
Right, it's always hard to say for sure, but they are definitely what's called a Panaeolus mushroom. So they're in the Panaeolus genus, which means they're in the dung fungus genus. And you did
Yeah,
say they were growing out of a dung heap.
they were.
And
Yeah.
they look very much to me like the Panaeolus semiovata, which is its common name is the egghead mottlgill. So if you look
Oh,
under
wow.
cap, you'll see the gills are slightly mottled. There'll be a sort of slightly speckling effect on them. Now, they're considered edible by some, but most people don't eat them because of, yeah, they're not just a plain coloured gill.
No,
There's
they are. Yeah, they are.
slightly
Yeah.
speckled nature to them.
Yeah.
So they're considered edible by some, but most people don't eat them because
Growing in
there's
poo.
not much to them and they grow out of poo. But then there's also there's a few papers I think that postulate that they might contain psilocybin as well, which is the hallucinogenic chemical in magic mushrooms. So
Oh, okay.
I don't think you'd do yourself a mischief if you ate them. So maybe you could do a little scientific experiment for us. Eat a bunch of them
Okay.
if you've got enough tonight, and then tell me what happens later on.
I might do that, but I will cook them because you told me to cook every mushroom.
If Jamie doesn't make it to next week's episode, we know why.
Well, psilocybin's quite good for you, to be honest. It's not something that would kill him. Maybe some toxins in the poo might, but not the psilocybin.
It is amazing though, walking around and seeing mushrooms, isn't it? It just, but to me, and I don't know, maybe Mark. I don't know whether you know much about foraging, Mark, but
Not a huge deal.
I just daren't. That's the thing. I daren't do it. I daren't take him home. I don't know anything about it.
You know, I spoke to you at Ely. I know you know a little bit. I can introduce you to, well, the ones that I've picked today, because of the first two that I found, I thought I'd go and find another one. And so for my little show and tell, I'm going to focus on totally safe, beginner friendly mushrooms.
Okay.
Mushrooms that my 5-year-old daughter can now identify safely.
Oh wow.
No poisonous lookalikes whatsoever. Uh,
Hmm.
so I've got a few here that you and the wife can eat safely. And Mark, if you've never tried mushroom foraging before, these ones are this is the place to start. So
It's one of those things, isn't it, that has always been drilled into us that mushrooms are dangerous, and
yeah.
at some point we must have relied on them so heavily as part
It's
of
a
our
weird thing
diet.
in British culture, actually. Nowhere else where you've got nowhere else that has sort of temperate forests like we've got, where there's loads of edible mushrooms, has the same culture of fear around mushrooms. So, you know, in Eastern Europe, they teach their children to go out and pick mushrooms, and you know, Italy and France, it's pretty much the same, and all over Russia and China, but in Britain, we teach children to be scared of mushrooms, which is
Yeah.
a weird thing because there's no mushrooms that are dangerous to touch. You can put that idea to bed right now. We get loads of emails from worried parents saying, "My child has picked this mushroom up. What should I do? Should I take him to hospital or whatever?" No, full stop. There's no mushrooms that are dangerous to touch.
Right.
I would happily, if I had one on the table here, I would lick a death cap in front of you with the
Okay.
more poisonous ones. The truth is, there's more poisonous plants than there
I was
are
going to say,
poisonous
there's
mushrooms.
plants
Yeah.
that people have in their gardens which can kill you.
Some of the plants are much more poisonous than the mushrooms as well. So, you know, aconitum, monk's hood, for example, is one of the most poisonous things around. And then there's hemlock water dropwort
Yeah.
and yew trees and foxgloves and deadly nightshade and lots of others that are all more dangerous, really, in all honesty, than even the
Yeah.
death cap mushroom. And there's no mushrooms that I wouldn't touch, but there's plants I wouldn't touch. So
Mm.
giant hogweed, for example, can
Yeah.
hospitalize you with just by brushing up against it. So there's plants that are much more dangerous than mushrooms, but we've got this weird culture of fear around mushrooms in the UK, which I think has been abating in the last 10 years or so, since I started my YouTube channel anyway. So it's
Yeah. Doing good.
hopefully helping.
I've,
Um, Go on.
I've got a bit of a story about some monkshood. Someone
Right.
who's supposedly quite a really good friend of mine actually gave me one as a present not long back.
All right. Okay.
Him.
As long as they gave you it in a bunch of flowers, not
Tried
as
to feed him
not
it.
a monkshood aconitum bar of soap or something like that. Or, you know, nice jam. That wouldn't have been a very good friend.
No, no, it was just in a pot, and he did tell me what it was and said, don't eat it."
That's so
Yeah.
poisonous that there are reportedly deaths from touching it. I don't believe that personally because if
Wow.
if it was that toxic that touching it was potentially deadly, you'd hear reports of gardeners and florists, you know, ending up in hospital quite regularly. There was a
Mm.
story on the BBC a while ago about a gardener who apparently died from aconitum poisoning. The,
Wow.
the poison garden, he disparaged it. He said that no, the symptoms weren't the same as aconitum poisoning.
Right.
Nonetheless, it's not one that I would rub into my skin or anything like that. You know, I'll
Yeah.
happily handle it
Yeah.
with cuts on my hand on a rainy day. I've done that plenty of times, but it's certainly more poisonous than the funeral bell mushroom, which is possibly even more deadly than the death cap.
Wow. Wow. Shall we do the questions as we go along so we don't get a big pile at the end, Mark?
Oh, go for it, yeah.
Have we got? I haven't
There's
seen
one there. Is there a common trend? I can't see who it is.
Arlo's farm. Is there a common trend with poisonous mushrooms? Do they have a certain colour or look?
No, there's no single rule for figuring out whether you've got an edible or a poisonous mushroom, but there's quite a few that are so basic that just a little bit of knowledge goes a long way. So I'm going to show you beefsteak fungus and the blackening polypore and chicken of the woods today. They have no poisonous lookalikes, and it's similar to blackberries. You know, what's going to look like a blackberry? Maybe a dewberry.
Right.
So you're totally safe with those. But if you get into red berries, then there's clearly poisonous red berries. I would say if there is a danger color in the mushroom world, it's actually white. Out of the probably 30 to 35 truly highly toxic mushroom species in the UK, about a third of them are white all over. So if you've got a mushroom that is white capped, white stemmed, and white gilled,
Okay.
be very, very careful because there's a lot of poisonous ones like that. With yeah, white is definitely the danger color. And then there's a few simple rules that you can apply if you can just do a little bit of identification first. So a lot of mushrooms don't have gills on, you know, mushrooms that you'd recognize as a mushroom with a stem and a cap. Quite a lot of them have sponge under the cap. Now that's a whole big group of mushrooms, which they used to be just one genus called the Boletus, but the DNA of mushrooms has been unraveled by mycologists in the last 20 years. So now it's 26 different genre of mushrooms.
Oh wow.
Makes it a bit more complicated
Yeah,
taxonomically,
yeah.
but from a forager's point of view, we've been following the same rules for thousands of years. And if a mushroom growing out the ground with a stem has sponge under the cap, the simple rule is no red, no blue. And I'll use my book here just to show you what I mean. So um, there's a beautiful mushroom there. That's the Babelitus. I think you can possibly see it. And it's got sponge under the cap instead of
Right.
gills.
So it's
Yeah.
like solid underneath rather than
Yeah, it's like it's like pores.
yeah.
Now, if you've got sponge under the cap, just avoid all of the ones that have red on the outside, like you can see there.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the outside of the actual top of the mushroom.
Now, the stem and
The
the
stem's really red.
pores, yeah.
Yeah.
That one's called the Devil's Bolete, so that one's quite toxic. And the stain blue, like the little inset picture there, if you cut them in half and they stain blue,
Oh
Oh, it's the
wow.
inside the
then
stem.
can you see that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So if it's got sponge under the cap, no red, no blue. That opens
Mm.
up 50 mushrooms that you can pick safely in the UK, and those mushrooms include the penny bun or the porcini, it's known as the
Mm.
cep, or in America they call it the king bolete, and it's got names in every culture because it's one of the most sought after edibles in the world, and it's really common in the UK. So.
Yeah. What
Which
about the the mushroom that's in every fairy tale in the world? The is it the fly Garrick?
the fly agaric, this one here, yeah. That beautiful mushroom,
Yeah,
red with white spots, the Alice in Wonderland mushroom.
that's
Now,
it.
it's technically it is a bit toxic. It's probably consumed in most university campuses most weekends, though. It's and they do eat it in certain other parts of the world where they'll boil it and throw the water away and then eat the mushroom afterwards because it's quite prolific and it's quite big and it's quite tasty. And if you boil it, throw the water away, and then eat it after you've cooked it again, then you don't get quite so much of a funky time out of it. So yeah, that's a beautiful mushroom. Not one that I would recommend for just putting with your eggs and bacon in the morning, though.
But it's not going to kill you though.
No, no. In fact, it's consumed regularly globally. There's what have they tried? The Sami tribes up in the sort of the northern hemisphere, the reindeer herders,
Yeah.
they consume the mushroom quite regularly for their well, they don't actually consume the mushroom. What they do is because the reindeer that they herd love that mushroom, and so they'll collect loads of the mushroom to help herd their reindeer. And if they want all their reindeer to stay in one place, they'll put loads of the mushroom on the floor, or if they
Ah.
want to lead the herd around, they'll kind of use the mushroom to do that. And the reindeer eat the mushroom. And there's some videos, funny videos on YouTube actually, of reindeer looking like they're having a bit of a weird time. You know, a reindeer sort of jumping over a twig, but looking back, stumbling a bit like a drunk man in, you know, Croydon High Street or something. So there's videos of reindeer looking like they're affected by it. But then what the Sami tribes do is they drink the reindeer urine, because the reindeer's liver and kidneys get rid of all of the muscarine, which is the potential dangerous toxin, and the ibotenic acid and the muscimol, which take you to another planet. They pass straight through. So some of the Sami tribes actually feed it to their wives and then drink their wives' wee. So
Oh,
I kind of feel like that's the wives getting their own back in advance, though. So. Again, not one that I'm advocating anyone consume.
no, I think I
I
missed that
think
one.
I'm good for that one.
We've had there's a question about courses, but we'll leave that to a bit later, shall we? We'll get onto your courses a bit later when we go through the whole lot.
No, plug the courses all the way through,
All
Jamie.
right, go on then.
Thanks.
Why aren't you doing courses in Lincolnshire? They are.
Don't like that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
See, you should have left it to the end.
We try to cover the whole country, but it's quite hard. There's only 8 of us, and although Britain's a small island, we can't quite get everywhere. But we're no more than 2 hours from most places, so I think Eam in the Peak District isn't too much of a drive from Lincolnshire. We're there, and a few other places as well. So yes, maybe I should have left the questions to the end.
We'll talk about courses and things at the end. Yeah, in big
Right,
style.
do you want me to talk about a few of these plants
Yeah, what we
then?
got there.
I'm going to start off on a few plants because whilst I was out in my garden, I picked a few that everyone should know about. So one that and these are all weeds that you gardeners and allotment keepers should have growing in any spare bit of ground. So this is a plant called pineapple weed. I don't know if you can quite see it. It's in the
I can
chamomile.
see it.
Matricaria discoidea is its scientific name, and it's discoidea refers to the fact that the chamomile-like flowers, which, sorry if that
Now
isn't
I can see
clear.
it. Yeah, I know what you mean. The chamomile's
Discoidea
got the
means
yellow
without
bits, haven't they?
rays or without petals. So if you
It's
see
like a
something
bubble.
that looks a little bit like chamomile, but you never see any white petals, just crush it up and have a smell.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
smell is so clear, clearly of pineapple that it's a plant that you can't mistake for anything else. And it's absolutely lovely for making different puddings and drinks and lollies. Me and my 5-year-old daughter like to make lollies out of it. And
Oh,
then
wow.
there's something called pineapple weed posset, which is in my cookbook. I won't get that out just yet, which is a wonderfully tasty pudding that you can make out of it. And it grows absolutely everywhere in, well, not everywhere, but in compacted soil. So your pathways, your gravel
Yeah.
driveways, or where tractors drive in and out of fields. It's an incredibly common plant
I
that
was going to say
is,
because chamomile loves a bit gravelly, free draining type place, isn't it? I suppose.
yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the chamomiles do, but in the wild there's one chamomile that's mildly toxic. So scented mayweed is a toxic member of the chamomile family, or scentless mayweed rather is a toxic member of the chamomile family. So don't go eating every wild chamomile. But this
Make
one,
tea.
pineapple weed, is absolutely lovely. And then another plant, I love teaching people about this plant because everyone should know about it. And I know all of your viewers are gardeners. So here I've got a plant called the wood avon, Geum urbanum. Yes, so there's
I love
two
that plant.
types of wild geums. We've got water avens and wood avens. This one, it looks a bit like a strawberry, but it's got these opposing little leaflets that
Yeah.
run down the stem. Then it grows a lovely little yellow flower. And then after the yellow flowers drop, it leaves behind these very loose burrs,
Hmm.
which there's one there. They get stuck on everything. They fall apart, not like your burdock burrs. And because of that, it's one of the most successful plants in the country, hence the name Geum urbanum, because it will grow in the middle of London and in the middle of the Brecons, you know, from the most urban environment to the most rural environment. You're always going to find it. Now, the plant is totally edible, but what grows above ground's a bit like post-apocalyptic food, really. It's not something that I would recommend eating to anyone. But the roots, this nested root system that you guys are pulling out of the ground every time you weed your flower beds or your vegetable gardens, and I mean every single time, it's that common. Those
Yeah.
roots, I can smell it from here. They contain a chemical called eugenol, which is the exact same flavour and smell chemical or aromatic chemical that's in cloves. So those
Oh.
roots taste exactly like cloves, but they're actually better than cloves for a few reasons, which is one of the reasons I love teaching people about this plant. So cloves, they're very woody, and you know, my wife loves a bit of bread sauce with the roast chicken. But if she uses cloves, you have to kind of pull them out at the end.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
people can break a tooth on a clove. But these roots, you just snip them up, and they disappear into your cooking. Also, they're you know they're free, which is a good thing, whereas the
Definitely.
cloves you buy aren't. They're a bit milder than cloves, which again is a pretty good thing, because cloves are quite an overpowering spice. I don't know how
Mm.
handy you guys are in the kitchen. You
Oh
have
yeah, I know cloves.
yeah, so you put a couple
Mm.
too many into anything, and you can start
Awful.
ruining
Yeah.
it.
Just reminds you of the dentist.
And well, these work in the same way. The eugenol is the ingredient that dentists use in all their analgesics. So for your viewers, if you don't know, if you've got toothache, get some clove oil, put it on your tooth, and
Hmm.
you'll get rid of the toothache like a miracle in a few seconds.
Yeah.
The pain will come back in a few minutes though, because you haven't fixed the problem. You've just temporarily killed the pain.
Yeah.
But these roots work the same way. But the best thing about them is that they grow here, whereas every clove in your kitchen was probably grown in Madagascar.
Yeah.
Now I've got nothing at all against Madagascar, but they export something like 80% of the world's cloves, and then it's Mauritius and other African nations. So
Mm.
every clove you've ever bought has done that many food miles, and completely unnecessarily, because there's a weed in your garden, whether you live in the middle of Birmingham or the middle of the Outer Hebrides. There's a weed probably within about 50 feet of your house that tastes exactly the same as cloves. So
Wow.
when I introduce people to this plant, I tell them never buy a clove again. I don't know how much damage I've done to the Madagascan export market, though. I doubt very much. Yeah.
Not enough to worry, Marlow. I wouldn't worry about that, mate.
No. But these roots, one of my favourite things to do with them, go on to fruit. I've walked across the road to the pear tree across the road, and these are a Comis pear or a Comis hybrid, and they're ready already. I
Yeah.
can't believe it. They are ready already. So what I'll do with these after I've got off the podcast with you is I'm going to get a cheap bottle of wine from the cupboard. I'm going to slice up these pears and put in a little bit of sugar. Put in my elderberries, mash that all together, put in the Woodhaven roots for a nice little spicy kick to my poaching liquor, and I'm going to poach these pears and have them with some cream after I've got off the podcast.
Oh, lovely.
Nice.
Uh, I mean, I don't use cloves in very much. In mulled wine, when
Yeah,
I'm mulling wine at the end of the year, I'll go
it's quite
outside the front
Christmassy,
door.
isn't it?
Yeah, they're always there. They're there at Christmas. So I'll go outside my front door, pick one of these plants, and pop it in the pot while it's mulling after I've washed the mud off. Leave all the leaves
Yeah,
on. It looks all twee and foragey, which I like. And they impart the same flavour as your little bouquet garni with some cloves in. Just got to have
fantastic. I'm
a
going to have a look for that tomorrow morning, definitely.
Oh, you must know that one already, but
Mm.
it's one that everyone should know about because
Yeah.
it's so common and yeah, never buy cloves, basically, people. Right, so I'm gonna move on to oh no, there's one other plant. I did in the little while I was out, I picked a pot full of plums and blackberries, but that's not too interesting. This is a plant that is though. So do you like your spicy food, Mark? Do you like spicy food, Jamie?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Right, so this is a plant that's really common in the UK. You can't really make it out, I suppose, on the
Yeah, I
camera.
can see it.
It's called water pepper. I don't know if there's any cultivars that you grow of this. Persicaria hydropiper.
Yeah.
Um,
There's
now,
Vietnamese coriander, which is a persicaria, which tastes like
right.
coriander.
Oh, well, this one tastes, it's got a slight coriander taste, but an incredibly spicy kick. So if you like hot food, one of these leaves, if you chew it up, chew it for about 10 or 15 seconds, and then all of a sudden you get this amazing burst of heat. In fact, I've got it now, and maybe I shouldn't. It's an
Have you
extreme. I,
got
to
some
my
beer
knowledge,
left?
it's the spiciest plant that we've got in the country, and it grows
Really?
in anywhere moist. Really, it's so common. It does look like a few other wild edibles. Sorry, wild plants that aren't edible. Things like dog's mercury. I don't know if you're familiar with that plant,
Yeah.
but very common woodland plant, and it can look quite similar. But this has a real key identifier, and I'm hoping that the camera can pick it up. But you see, there's a red band on the
Yeah,
stem,
yeah,
every
yeah.
leaf bract.
It's
So
almost
you
pink
see
as
that.
well, isn't it?
Yeah, just sort of.
I think that's just this one. So if you look a bit further up, it's pretty straight.
Okay.
Likes to
Yeah,
grow
yeah.
straight. You see that red band on the leaf everywhere. There's a leaf joint. That's almost unique to the Persicaria hydropiper, and for a spicy leaf that holds its spice through cooking, it's pretty much one of the best. So look out in anywhere moist. That one I picked from what was a puddle back in April, but it's managed to survive through the droughts and was still growing and has gone to flower.
So you
So,
would just chuck a handful of those into a curry instead of
oh,
peppers
using,
in
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, or to just spice up a stir fry, you
Yeah.
know, put in a few chilies at the end of a stir fry or whatever you want to, a chili con carne. Put them in towards the end, and yeah, they're absolutely lovely.
Wow, brilliant.
With a real powerful heat that I am still experiencing in my mouth right now. In fact, I'm going to
Ah,
sip a beer quickly.
is that a homebrew beer?
No, I'm not going to mention the brand either. I've got some homebrew mead, but that's a bit too strong to drink on a podcast.
Would we see you go downhill quite rapidly?
Right, so I'm going to talk about some mushrooms now. Do you want me to? I
Brilliant.
don't know how much time you've got for me because I could
We
talk a
normally
little
we
bit
normally
about.
pack up about 9 o'clock, but it's totally up to you, mate.
Well, should I? I'll do the three edibles then.
Yeah, go for it.
You heard the little mushroom history bit that I did with the three mushrooms at Ely. I could do that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, say it. Go for it.
Right, so as humans we've evolved alongside mushrooms since we were great apes, basically, and there's great evidence that, well, we know that the great apes in Africa still eat mushrooms. So it's pretty obvious that throughout our evolution we have eaten mushrooms, but there's very little evidence of that because mushrooms don't fossilize very well. So we've got not much direct evidence of human interaction with mushrooms. But
Yeah.
I've got three here that are the ones that we've got the oldest direct evidence of humans using, and this is the one that we've got the oldest evidence of. This is called the King Alfred's cake. It's a black mushroom that grows on ash trees, and it's used for fire lighting. So it's a mushroom that we know humans have used for at least 7,000 years, because when they excavated this 7,000-year-old settlement in Spain, it was a mushroom that they found in quite abundance around the fire pit. It's not an edible mushroom, but it's one that we know humans have used for at least 7,000 years, and I've used it for fire lighting and fire transporting.
How would you use it as a firelighter then?
Well, it's a mushroom that when it's dry like this one, it will take a spark from flint and
Oh,
steel,
okay.
or they would have had ironstone and steel, so it's a very
Yeah.
spark. So you would use it just as your kind of tinder. So it's kind of a tinder fungus. It's called the King Alfred's cake. I don't know if you know your history. King Alfred burnt the cakes. He was on
No,
Alfred
no.
the Great. He was on the run from the Vikings, and a farmer and his wife put him up. And she asked him to look after the cakes in the oven, but he fell asleep or he got distracted planning his next battle. And apparently, the cakes ended up looking like this. So,
Oh, I see. Brilliant.
King Alfred's cakes. Now, this one is a really common mushroom and really easy to identify. No problem at all identifying this because it's the only mushroom that looks like this that grows on a birch tree. It's called the birch polypore, or Pictoporus betulinus. Now, this mushroom we know humans have used for at least 5,000 years because when they dug up Ötzi, the Iceman, this like 5,000-year-old mummy that they dug up in Tyrol in the 90s, he had this on him. And it's a mushroom that he could have had for numerous reasons because we sort of think of it as the Swiss Army knife of mushrooms. It's got loads of different uses. So it is edible, but it's not very tasty. But Ötzi's palate would have been a bit different to ours. I doubt he'd ever eaten a Mars bar or anything like that. So he could probably put up with things that were a bit less tasty. It's also a mushroom that cures whipworm, so he might have used it as a wormer. It's a tinder fungus as well, but we now know also that it's a really good mushroom for your immune system. It contains something called betulinic acid that it takes in from the Betula family of trees, the birch trees,
Yeah.
and it mixes that with a couple of acids of its own, and it's a mushroom that is pretty much scientifically proven to be good for your immune system. So he might have had it for that reason, or he might have just had it to make plasters because you can take off the skin on the underside, and that skin is a self-adhesive, porous, antiseptic and antifungal plaster because the mushroom is antiseptic and antifungal as well, which led it to be used by barbers as well through the sort of 17 and 1800s. They would get the skin of this mushroom and stretch it over a piece of wood and use it for the final finish on their cutthroat razor blades to give them a sharpen and to clean them up. And yeah, it's a mushroom with a lot of history that I'm sure humans have used for tens of thousands of years, not
Did
just.
you say that fungus is antifungal?
Yeah, it doesn't like sharing the birch tree. It wants the birch tree to itself. So yeah,
So if
absolutely.
anything else tried to grow up it, it would kill it off.
Yeah, they have.
Oh.
Well, they have chemical warfare, but they have actually slightly more physical warfare as well. If the mycelium, it's kind of like if you've ever seen starfish at war. It takes a long time, but yeah, they don't always get along, fungus. Fungus is our kingdom, Jamie. So there's so much diversity in fungus. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. And there's one thing I like to finish on actually for after we've done this. I'll leave out my big horse's hoof fungus. Won't talk too much about this. This is my giant horse's hoof fungus, which again it got used in the Middle Ages to make tinder. It used to be worth almost as much as gold. I wish it still was because I've got a big one here, but unfortunately we've all got lighters now. But I'm going to go on to edible ones, and like I said, I'm going to go on to really easy beginner edible fungus, and then I'm going to talk about something new that I'm doing that I find really interesting. So. This is a polypore, the birch polypore. Polypore fungus are the bracket fungus that you see growing either out the sides of trees or
Yeah.
around the bases of trees, or out where the roots are kind of underground but very shallow. You can see them growing there. Now, out of all of the polypores that we've got in the UK, and there's at least 100, there's only one poisonous one. The rest of them are all technically not poisonous, but you would need proper caveman teeth to get through them because
Ah,
most of them are like a bit of wood. But out of all of those polypores, there are three that are considered to be good edible fungus by anyone that goes foraging. And I've got all three of those right here. So I'm going to show you the
oh,
three
brilliant.
polypores to look out for. Now, the first one is this one here, which is a mushroom called the blackening polypore, and it grows exclusively around the bases of beech trees, sometimes oak, but pretty much exclusively around the base of beech trees. Now, when I picked this, it was pretty much all that colour there.
Okay.
But it's called the blackening polypore because after you start handling it, it starts to go black. The thing about this mushroom and all of the others that are edible is that it is soft and malleable. You can see I'm tearing that apart
Yeah.
really easily, and it's quite sinuous,
Yeah.
a bit like chicken that's been cooked. Now, it's got a lovely meaty texture and a deep, rich, mushroomy flavour. Like I say, growing around the base of beech trees and with no poisonous lookalikes whatsoever. So it's not a normal mushroom with a cap like I showed you in the book earlier. It's a polypore, which means there's no gills and just fronds, basically, of the mushroom. And those fronds, at this stage, when it's nice and young, are a really, really good edible fungus with a lovely, lovely meaty texture. In fact, all of the polypores that I'm going to show you have a meaty sort of theme to them. This one's called, its scientific name is Myripilus giganteus because it's when it gets huge or when it gets mature, it is one of the biggest fungus you will ever see. But when it gets big and mature, it gets very tough. So you kind of only want to eat it young. There's a picture in our book where those fronds are about maybe nearly even a foot in diameter.
Ah.
That's how big it gets. Now, but when it's young, we like to call that one pork of the woods because the other ones have already got their meaty names. But it is a wonderfully tasty and really, really safe mushroom. The only, just so you guys know, the only poisonous polypore or bracket fungus, it's called the cinnamon bracket, which is cinnamon in colour and quite hard. So I'll show you a picture of that just so that you know that what I'm saying is, where are we? Cinnamon. 308, 309. So there's the cinnamon bracket, everyone.
Right.
It's quite hard, and it's not deadly poisonous. It's one that will turn your wee purple and make you wish that you were dead for a couple of days, but really just through gastric upset. Um, so you would never basically mistake that for the next two that I'm about to show you. Now, we were when you texted me and said, "Can you do a bit of a show and tell?" I thought, "Oh, I know where there's some chicken of the woods on a tree up the road." So I went and climbed up a tree and found this rather dry-looking specimen of chicken of the woods. And then I came back to my garden where I've got a cherry tree that fruits chicken of the woods each year. And I hadn't checked it before I went out and found this
Wow.
on my own cherry tree in my garden.
Look at that.
Find it.
And there's more on it. In fact, I did a little video with my daughter, which will probably go on YouTube or Face Nosh.
Wow.
But that is a mushroom called chicken of the woods, which is a bright yellow polypore. And again, as you can see here, it's not woody, it's soft and malleable. That's
Yeah.
really what you want. If your polypores are soft and malleable, then you can eat them. But this one, these fronds, are pretty much the best substitute for chicken that I know of. They're as good as any of the chicken substitutes that you can get in the shops. You do have to cook this mushroom quite well because it's a mushroom again that's toxic raw, and some people have a mild allergy to it, which means that the first time you eat chicken of the woods, you should only eat a small portion and then wait 24 hours just to see if you have a bit of a dicky tummy. Apparently, it can make your lips swell up as well, which I know some people pay for, but
They
it's not
do
something you
these
really want
days.
from as a
Frisco
side
pops.
effect from dinner. There you go. You've got the chicken of the woods pout, Jamie. I see. So chicken of the woods, it's a really, really good edible, unless you're one of the unlucky ones. I think it's one in about, 40 people or something have the allergy. So if you're one of those, you're unlucky. Never feed it to a whole dinner party of people though, because, obviously one of them might well have that bit of an allergy and end up on the toilet for the evening. But I've fed it to at least 100 people, and only one person's ever been ill. So just don't be too brave though. Eat a small portion the first time you try it, and
Yeah.
make sure you're okay. But yeah, chicken of the woods. It grows on all kinds of different hardwood trees. It loves oak, loves willow. That one was growing on cherry, so it loves your prunus. It will also grow on yew trees. Now, I'm sure most of your viewers know yew trees are highly poisonous. They're much more poisonous than even the death cap. So 25 grams of a yew tree is your LD50 for most people, lethal dose, which as little as 25 needles can be a lethal dose for a human of a yew tree. Now, chicken of the woods, I used to teach when I first started out 15 years ago, teaching people about all this nonsense. I'd tell people never to eat chicken of the woods off the side of a yew tree, but modern science now knows that that isn't necessary, because the mushrooms totally destroy or metabolize or do not take in the taxine from the yew tree. We were part of a study that was going on for a couple of years ago, where we all sent samples of chicken of the woods from a yew tree in to be tested in a lab, and none of them had taxine in them, but some of them had grown around bits of the yew tree, so they can encompass. If you can imagine this polypore here, it can grow around a load of the needles of the yew tree, and they can end up inside it. So if you are going to eat this from a yew tree, then just make sure you clean it and slice it fine to make sure there's no bits of wood or bark or needles in there, and then you're totally safe. And
In
chicken,
fact,
I'm so pleased I found this, because that's my dinner for a couple of days sorted,
Yeah.
which is lovely. And then the other polypore that we all eat, pardon me, it's called the beefsteak fungus. And here we've got a beefsteak fungus. Now, it's also called the ox tongue fungus because
You
it's
can
got this
see
kind
that.
of, you can see it
definitely
looks a
like a
bit
tongue.
like a cow's tongue.
Yeah.
Now, this is a mushroom that's exclusive to oak trees and to chestnut trees or sweet chestnut trees. So that's all you'll find it out of, but it's extremely common. And again, it's soft, malleable, and it's red. And it gets called beefsteak fungus because when you cut it, it looks a lot like, I don't know if you can see that, that looks like a nice cooked bit of steak
Yeah,
there.
fantastic.
This one's a bit dry, but I'm going to try it, so we'll see. It also is a mushroom that bleeds red.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Oh no, it's far too dry. No. Oh, I just about can. I don't know if the camera can see it,
I can
but
see
there's
a
a
bit of
little
Yeah.
bit of
moisture.
red
Yeah.
liquid bleeding out of it. When the
Yeah.
mushroom's fresh and moist and hasn't been through a couple of days of 30 blooming degrees sunshine, it bleeds a lot more readily. So this one growing around the base of beech trees. This one growing bright yellow out of the sides of numerous different hardwood trees. And this one, bright red, growing out the side of oak trees and sweet chestnut trees, are all mushrooms that like I say, my 5-year-old daughter can ID 100% safely. They
Brilliant.
have no poisonous lookalikes. Two of them are particularly tasty. Chicken of the woods tastes like chicken. The blackening polypore tastes a bit like a cross between chicken and pork, honestly. And the beefsteak fungus, though, unfortunately, tastes absolutely nothing like beef. It's a mushroom that you can slice it up and eat it. And beefsteak carpaccio, just sliced thin and dried, is quite nice. But it's got a bit of acidic flavour, so you always want to put it with something creamy, like a creamy mushroom dish, or dry it into beefsteak jerky is what a lot of people do. But I think that's just because of the name. I'm not
Fantastic.
sure the
Brilliant.
tastiest thing in the world. But all three of those are totally safe, absolutely 100% safe for beginners.
Brilliant.
Look, there's what time have we got? 15 minutes.
Can I
There's
just quickly say, if anybody's got any questions for Marlow, just put them in that question box because I can see him popping up and disappearing. There's a little question. There's a little question mark down the bottom. Press that. Type your question in, and we can see them in a bit later when we're nearly at the end.
I can see Sissy saying that my mushroom looks like an old boot. Yes, uh, I agree. Yeah, it's quite a tasty old boot though.
Yeah.
Right.
Bit of ladder.
Can I plug my books now, Jamie?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Right, so I set up Wild Food UK about 15 years ago, and about 7 years ago, we wrote our first book, our foraging pocket guide, which is now if you go on Amazon, it's the only foraging book that's had over like 1,000 5-star reviews. It's kind of become the successor to a book called Food for Free, which is a wonderful book written by a wonderful guy called Richard Maybe. But when Eric and I started out foraging, we thought we'd write the book or try to write the book that we would have liked when we first started foraging. And this one, the Foraging Pocket Guide, has become pretty much the top rated foraging book in the UK. So, off of the back of that and its success, a couple of years ago, we wrote our mushroom foraging guide. Now, that one has been reviewed by the British Mycological Society as the best beginner book for mushrooms. So, for learning about mushrooms. And then this year, our 14 years in the making book is our foraging or foragers cookbook, which
Nice.
is 180 recipes,
Wow.
beautifully photographed. We sent the whole lot off to a development chef who did improve some of the recipes, I must admit, but not all of them. Oh, there's my poached pear tart
There
that
it is. Yeah, look at
I'm
that. That's
the Woodhavens and a few other ingredients. Beautifully photographed, 180 recipes. for everything from nettles to blackberries and lots of different mushroom recipes as well. So those are our 3 books, and they are available on Amazon. But Jeff Bezos is rich enough, so
Yes.
if you want to get those, please go to our shop website, which is wildfooduk.com, and that's where all of our courses are listed as well. So wildfooduk.com. But can I finish up telling you something really exciting that I'm involved in at the moment,
Of
Jamie? Do you
course,
mind if
yeah,
I
definitely.
waffle a bit
Definitely.
more about mushrooms? So, do either of you use any sort of fungal treatments on your plants and trees, things like root grow or anything like that?
No, but I have heard about the mycelium. You can get the mycelium to put under the as you plant a
Mycelial
plant.
fungi, yeah. So
Yeah,
they're fungal additives that you tend to try and add when you're planting
yeah,
trees and plants. So, but I'm involved in a project now, which because I live near to the River Wye, which is almost the whole of the River Wye is a World Heritage Site and protected, but it's getting quite polluted because of a couple of things. So, obviously, our rather lax water companies who like to dump all of their sewage
Yeah.
into the rivers. But then also there's a lot of chicken farms up and down the River Wye, particularly towards my bit of it. And then there's also the farmers who spray lots of chicken manure and other different chemicals on their fields, which all over time leaches
Yeah.
into the River Wye. Now we've discovered we've been doing a bit of research, and we've discovered that these are arbuscular mycorrhizal fungus. They help the plants take up the NPK, particularly phosphorus, from the soil up to 600 times more effectively.
Wow.
So I'm going to be speaking at a conference soon, and we're in touch with all the farmers, and we're looking to put together a an additive that can be put into the soil retrospectively rather than on planting. So using a liquid mushroom culture, which will make all of the plants healthier, allow them to take up the phosphorus in the soil a lot more healthily, a lot more vigorously, and also a byproduct of the mycelial fungi. Let's just leave it at that. In the soil, is that they all produce a product called something called glomalin, which is kind of like the glue that holds soil together and makes soil much healthier. So if you're talking about a sort of sandy soil, then if you've got enough glomalin in there, then it will turn it into a much more loamy soil, and helps the soil with water retention, drought resistance, pathogen resistance, and all kinds of things. And where we've done some little trials, that I think Herefordshire is probably the driest county in the country at the moment. My lawn is absolutely brown. But where we've added our sort of experimental stuff to grassland, those little bits of grassland have managed to stay pretty green through the drought. And we've got a lot more testing to do, but hopefully we're going to be able to cut the farmers' bills with their fertilizers, put some more natural biomass back into the soil, and also alleviate the pollutants that are going into the River Wye as well.
so it
So.
allows the plants to take up nutrients easier.
Yes, much more. So these are the fungus. What they do is they latch onto the root system of the plants, and they also using enzymes break down the things like phosphorus. So there's loads of phosphorus in the soils here, but phosphorus is really tightly bound to the soil, so the plants can't make use of it. But the fungus has enzymes that break down the tightly bound phosphorus and feed it to the plants, because the fungus have a symbiotic relationship with the plants where they feed the plants, and in return, the plants give the fungus back the carbohydrates that they need and the sugars that they need to survive. So it's in the fungus interest to make the plants healthier.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of the fungus has been killed because the farmers like to use fungicides, pesticides, and other chemicals which are not which are going to kill the fungus. So it's going to take a little while, but we're talking about adding another bow to the new regenerative farming buzz, which luckily enough, a lot of the farmers around here actually are trying to jump on board with. So,
So
yeah.
gardeners and farmers alike won't need as much fertilizer.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
And it's all become so expensive anyway, hasn't it? So
Oh, it's ridiculous amounts of money.
they're almost pricing themselves out of people using them now for the chemicals, which is going to be a good thing. But
Well, it's looking like we might be able to do something along the lines of £70 per hectare to get these things established. That's the product. That's not the application.
Yeah.
But yeah, £70 per hectare, and then hopefully a lot less fertilizer needed, much more drought resistance, which is very relevant right now, and pathogen resistance as well. Healthier plants tend not to be quite so
No.
susceptible to different pathogens.
Do you think you'll get some? The fertilizer companies will be
No,
against it. No.
they
no.
disappear.
It's kind of like asking the psychiatrists if they think that psilocybin's a good idea. Psilocybin having been proved to be the best thing that we've ever found for. I know I'm going to start sounding like a hippie now, but King's College London, the head top neuroscience university hospital in the country, did their clinical trials on psilocybin being a potential drug for alleviating different cyclical psychological disorders like depression, PTSD, right through to even things potentially like anorexia. And they found it to be the best thing among other different studies done around the world. They've found it to be the best. And I'm not talking about tripping, I'm talking about
No.
microdosing, which is
Microdosing. Yeah.
tiny amounts.
Mm.
But unfortunately, it's also a mushroom that grows free all over the country. So those really, really lovely pharmaceutical companies probably won't take it up. I wouldn't have thought.
No.
There you are. Anyway, sorry, I did go off on a bit of a.
No, no, that's fine. I was going to say to you, can we have a couple of minutes about magic mushrooms? Because I'm sure people,
It's the
want to
question
hear
we
about
ask
it.
about whenever I go into a pub and they say,
You
"What do
will do,
you
yeah.
do?" I say, "I teach people about mushrooms." Oh, magic mushrooms. Every single time.
I'm
They're
sure. Yeah.
illegal. They're a Class A drug. Don't touch them, people. The
Drugs.
the red one with the white spots is not actually illegal, and that's the one that's not so good for you. But the psilocybin containing mushrooms like the Liberty Cap, which is this one here, it's illegal to touch in the UK.
Wow.
It used to be illegal to prepare, so you could pick it and you could eat it, but you couldn't dry it. Now it's illegal to touch, and
I know.
it was for a little while. The law changed a little bit more mildly, and it was kind of legal just to graze them out the ground like a cow.
It's like a pair of
But
pert breasticles.
yeah, there you are. Witches' tits, that's what they're called. Those, if you see those in the wild, now that I've shown that to you guys, you know what it is. And if you touch one, you are committing a crime and, yeah, in possession of a Class A drug, which is ridiculous when you consider that much more dangerous drugs like ketamine are actually Class B. So,
Oh, what?
yeah.
And alcohol.
And alcohol is legal.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Right, what questions have we got? Pete's
I've probably just opened up a whole different line of questioning, actually.
Pete's Mushrooms said, have you ever tried inoculating tree roots with edible mycorrhizal species?
Not inoculating tree roots, no, I haven't, but I have inoculated wood piles. The thing is, edible mycorrhizal species, it's a science that is beyond even the top mycologists at the moment. None of the mycorrhizal fungus are farmed. The only ones that we actually farm are what are called the saprobic fungus, or the rotters, if you like. So think about fungus as a kingdom. Just like animals are a kingdom, and in the kingdom of animals, you've got everything from insects to birds to lizards to blue whales. In fungus, you've got all of those different groups or phyla as well. And yeah, the mycorrhizal fungus are so poorly understood that the things like porcinis and chanterelles aren't farmed. They're only foraged because nobody can figure out how to grow them. I
Wow.
have managed to get different saprobic fungus growing though, things like field mushrooms, St George's mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, obviously, and many others because they're quite easy to introduce. You just give them the right substrate. So if it's say like the porcelain fungus is a saprobic mushroom that only grows out of beech trees, get a load of porcelain fungus and a load of beech wood chip and put them all over it, and you can get that working. Mycorrhizal fungus, apart from these arbuscular mycorrhizal fungus that have been studied for grass and crop growth, it's not something that anyone really has managed to do so far. It's a frontier science. Mycology is a very new science. Mushrooms were only recognized or fungus were only recognized as a kingdom in the 60s, and the mycelium has only been understood in the last 20 or 30
Mm.
years because the majority of the fungus is underground. And we've probably got 15,000 types of fungus grow in the UK minimum. Only 5,000 of those fruit. So some of them, 10,000, 2/3 of them, we have no real studies on because they spend their whole lives underground doing things that you have to study through microscopy. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Right, there's another one. Sissy said, what is the large waves mushroom about? 8 to 9 inches in diameter with a 1.5-inch width, cream coloured with a surface like cracked leather in different sections on the top. Beautiful to look at. So the
I
large
I
waves
think
mushroom.
you are possibly talking about the dryad saddle, Serioporus squamosa. So I don't know if this is the one you're talking about, but I'll show you a photo. There's what it looks like, and the top of it looks a bit like the patterning on a pheasant's back or a female pheasant's back. So that might be the one you're talking about, which is the largest capped mushroom we have in the UK. It is edible when it's young, and it smells like watermelon. And yeah, it's a nice edible when young, but when it gets big, because it actually gets to 60 centimeters, I think is the record in the UK. When it gets that big, it's quite woody. You know, it's got to be tough to support that size of a cap. So I think possibly the dryad saddle.
Not
Not
quite,
quite.
it grows on its
Rose
own.
stone, right? Okay. It's hard to say from a description. A big, creamy, wavy mushroom, um, and with a stem or growing out. Is it growing out the ground or out the side of a tree?
Need a picture.
What Sissy needs to do is buy a certain book, and that'll be in there somewhere.
It might be. Yeah. Like I say, there's not even a comprehensive fungus book. Full stop. Yeah, send a pic, and I will. I'll when I see the picture, I'll let Jamie and Mark
Yeah,
know.
obviously follow. You can follow Marlow on his wild.
Oh yeah, send it in to us.
Yeah, yes, send it in, and you can chat.
Follow Wild Food UK.
Exactly.
Grows on the lawn.
Grows on clover
Right. Oh,
lawns.
okay. That makes it a bit more interesting. I might be able to. I thought you were
Ah,
talking about a bracket fungus. So yeah, I'd need to see a photo. Clover. Right. Yeah. All clovers are edible. Not very tasty though. Apart from pink flowered clover, the pink flowers are quite nice. The white ones taste disgusting.
How bizarre.
It is, yeah, yeah. All clovers are edible, but the pink flowers are actually worth eating, and they're especially on a sunny day. If you get there before the bees, they're nice and
I say
sweet.
the easy.
right, yeah, yeah.
But
Right,
yeah,
Marlow.
fungus is
So,
an amazing science. There's new fungus discovered in Britain to science every single year. So new species to science. You know, if you're an ornithologist, you're not going to discover a new bird. If you're a botanist, you're not going to discover a new plant to science in Britain. But mycology is such a fresh science that there are new fungus to science discovered in Britain every year.
do your books cover all the poisonous mushrooms and plants in the UK?
All of the best ones and their lookalikes. So they're very well put together in that if there is a poisonous lookalike for a mushroom, it's on the very next page. So that'll be the poisonous lookalike for this one, for example,
Ah,
from
fantastic.
Milkcat there. Lactarius deliciosus, that one's called, Jamie. Tastes very nice.
Lactarius, is that lactose, milky?
Yeah, they lactate. They if you damage them, they drip little bits of milk out, and that
Oh, wow.
Lactarius deliciosus. So it's quite
Ah, delicious.
Nice.
yes.
Fantastic.
Another
So we
question.
know about your books and we know to come to your website for them. But what about the courses that you keep talking about? What's happened to them?
Oh, that's what we started doing. Eric and I set up Wild Food UK to teach people about because we used to go out for walks and people would want to come along with us. And then after a little while of that happening, one of my friends who was at Cardiff University, she phoned me up and said, "Look, if you and Eric come to Cardiff, you can take us, me and all my friends out for a walk round Butte Park. We'll put you up. We'll pay your travel. We'll feed you." And all you've got to do is come and take us for a walk around Butte Park and tell us what all these mushrooms are.
Fantastic.
So that was great. Yeah, me and Eric went and stayed in a flat with seven lovely ladies and got paid for the weekend. And then after that, we thought, well, if they're willing to pay, maybe other people are. So
Yeah,
we set up Wild Food UK and advertised courses in different parts of the country and got very popular. We were sort of pretty much the first people doing it about 15 years ago. There was maybe one or two other people doing it. There's every Tom, Dick and Sally's trying to teach you how to forage nowadays. But Eric and I, we used to go all over the country in our camper vans. We'd set up courses in like the Peak District and then the Yorkshire Dales and then Scotland and just go away for a couple of months doing a weekend here, a weekend there, a weekend there. And they all sold out and we thought, wow, this is brilliant. But then you get married and have kids and you're not allowed to go away for 2 or 3 months, assuming all
no, surprisingly.
having fun.
Not at all.
We trained up other instructors. So we've got a guy in Cumbria, a guy in Solihull, a guy down in Brighton, someone in Frome, someone in South Wales, and
Anything coming up around Kent at the moment?
oh yeah, we've got Badgells Wood in Kent near to Margate, which is a fantastic place for
They are, Daniel.
lovely campsite, which is what is it? It's about not Margate, Maidstone. It's about 15 miles, 10, 15 miles from Maidstone. and it's a wonderful venue. It's a glamping, not glamping site, it's a campsite. And yeah, we run courses there probably at least once a month. And yeah, for autumn, it's a fantastic place. Loads of chanterelles. Sorry, no, Ireland. We still haven't quite got over to Ireland and Lincolnshire. No, you have to have a look on the map on Wild Food UK for the courses. We've got a map listing all of our venues. We've got 40 venues, so we've tried our hardest to cover the whole of the UK. And I don't think many parts of the UK where we're more than a couple of hours away. So yeah, have a look on the website.
Get on the website and everything will be revealed
And I
on
would be very happy to come to Ireland and run a course. We've been asked so many times, and I really, really want to. It will happen one day. So sign up for our mailing list on the website, and we'll let you know when we're coming over there.
Fantastic.
Promised it right here.
Excellent. Marlow, this has been absolutely fantastic. And normally at this time of night, Mark has a lightning round of questions that he can chuck into you. Do you want to? You like doing that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Have to edit them slightly.
No, go
they're
for
normally aimed at gardeners.
it. Okay. I'm a gardener of sorts.
So
I
the
like the weeds
first,
more than the plants, though.
the first one is not garden related at all, so you'll be all right with that one. It is. What is your favourite band or artist?
My favourite band or artist? Well, that's very subjective and depends entirely on the time and how I'm feeling. But if I'm feeling a little bit one way, then I'd probably go with the Pixies. If I'm feeling a little bit another way, then I might go with Rudimental. And then if I'm feeling another way, then I might go all the way back to Malvina Reynolds and Little Boxes on the Hillside, all made out of ticky-tacky. It depends on how I'm feeling.
Depends which mushrooms you're eating.
It does, yeah. Then it's Poison Electric Head. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
No. Brilliant.
Next one is, in the summer, are you a cuppa in the morning sun or a cold drink relaxing watching the sun go down kind of guy?
Oh, well, I'm both actually. I love the mornings, and certainly it's kind of because I've got a 5-year-old daughter. It's kind of my quiet time. If I'm up at 6 o'clock, I love the mornings and a cup of tea out when it's just me and birds. Maybe the chickens being a little bit noisy. And a little bit of peace. I love that. And yes, a cold drink in the evening too. So I am very much both.
Right.
If I had to choose one, then it would probably be the cold drink at sunset, though.
Winding down after a hard day.
Yeah.
Good choice. Next one, flowers or edibles?
Edibles, obviously.
Easy.
You do get beautiful edible flowers, though. You know, your common mallow's a lovely edible flower. Common vetch, tastes of pea, absolutely lovely. Primroses with their honey flavour, and the cowslips as well. There's plenty of lovely edible flowers.
Yeah.
There is.
Ones I've never heard of. Well, I've heard of the flowers, but didn't realise they're edible then.
Well, you know, you don't just eat with your mouth, you eat with your nose and your eyes as well. You put a few flowers on top of anything and it looks fresher, and it ticks a subconscious box saying that's fresh and lovely and means you're going to enjoy your meal a little bit more. So even if you're serving up a pizza, chuck a couple of common mallow flowers on top, and all of a sudden everyone goes, oh, wow. And it's a subconscious thing because, you know, our senses were developed to keep us alive. So sight, smell, taste. If something looks fresh, ticks a subconscious box.
Brilliant.
Next one, beach or forest?
Forest every day.
Has to be.
I can answer that.
Next one is, what's your go-to emoji in a text message?
Oh, I'm very I'm a bit old, so I tend to just use the colon bracket smiley face at the end of everything.
The original emojis.
I don't
Binary.
I don't do I don't know what yeah, I don't do emojis. Bracket smile and semicolon smiley face, the winky face and the smiley face. They're my two emojis. That's
I've seen some lovely ones on here. Look, there's mushrooms and plants and everything.
I get sent a lot of those, funnily enough.
More mushroom emojis than there is plant emojis.
Yeah,
If you could only have one snack for the rest of your life, what would it be?
oh, this is be good.
Oh wow. One snack for the rest of my life. Fruit leathers.
Fruit.
That's when you dry
Oh,
out. It's when you get all the berries, and usually you add a load of hawthorn berries, and you dry them out. You get the juice. You then dehydrate that juice, and it turns into fruit jerky, basically. Depending on what fruit you've used, you've got different flavors. But it's a way of using all the old ugly fruit that might be a little bit not perfect for something else. And yeah, fruit leathers, I'd say.
brilliant. Is that in your book?
Yes, probably. I think so. I'll show you in a second. Go on there. Yep. Next question.
So the next one is finish the sentence. My perfect day would be.
Foraging mushrooms with my 5-year-old daughter, stopping at the pub on the way home for a quick pint before coming back, and making some creamy mushroom pasta for the family.
Oh, perfect.
Brilliant.
Lovely. Sounds good.
Great.
My daughter has apple ties at the pub, by the way.
Next one. Today's favourite plant.
I find it hard to look past wild garlic as my favourite plant. I know that it's one everyone knows. It's like a forager's cliche, but
Yeah.
it's so tasty. And there's the other variants of it, which one of them's even nicer. To be the few flowered garlic is nicer than our native Allium ursinum. Pardon me. And then you've got three-cornered leek and crow garlic and Canadian garlic, all of the different wild garlics. I love Italian food. I used to manage an Italian restaurant, and I think that's partly where my love of food and mushrooms came from. And garlic is one of my favorite ingredients. And the fact that I can walk across the road and a whole field full of a handful of wild garlic from February through to May around here is a wonderful thing. So my favourite plant, a really simple one, wild garlic and the other types of wild garlic.
It's good
Brilliant.
stuff. It is good stuff.
What's your favourite season?
Autumn?
Autumn. I knew he was going to say autumn.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the next one is if you could make one thing disappear from your garden or the gardening world, what would
Ground elder.
didn't even have to think about that.
Although it is a lovely edible,
I was going to
you
say,
know
can
you
you eat
can
it?
eat it. So young shoots of ground elder. It was brought over as a parsley flavored pot herb for human and animal consumption by the Romans, and the young stuff tastes quite nice. The more mature leaves you can use instead of spinach in things like spanakopitas and that kind of thing. So it's pretty useful. But after it flowers, lots of plants change their makeup after they've flowered, and ground elder it becomes a bit of a laxative. So do nettles after they've flowered. It becomes a bit of a diuretic as well. But it also becomes a bit of a soporific. So technically, if you eat too much ground elder after it's flowered, it could send you to sleep and you might wake up in a bit of a mess. So just go for the young stuff. Where are they? They're in this book. Hawthorne, that's what I should look for. Fruit leathers, 377. There you go.
They're in there.
That's what fruit leathers look like. You basically get all your fruit in a big bowl,
Yeah.
mash it up, pour it in a baking tray, and then you roll them up and turn them into these lovely,
Look
tasty
at that.
fruit rolls, which you can make them out of different fruits, so different flavors. I quite like them a little bit sour, but you can make them sweeter. And yeah, they're lovely, lovely snacks.
Brilliant. Next one, favourite weed.
Ah, favorite weed? Well, I'd say if we're talking about weeds in your garden, then hairy bittercress, wavy bittercress, and swine cress, three that everyone just throws away, I will happily put into on top of any bit of food that I'm ever eating. So hairy bittercress, wavy bittercress, and swine cress, they're all over my garden here. Definitely weed. But
Brilliant.
everything I go foraging, so pineapple weed, chickweed, burdock, the wood avens I showed you earlier. They're all, what's a weed? Is it just a
Exactly.
plant growing in the wrong place, isn't it?
Definitely.
That's what they reckon.
Hmm.
Um, what's your favourite gardening scent?
I don't know if any of you have ever smelt it, but have you ever smelt the flowers of a Paulonia tree?
No.
Oh, I was in the one of the castle gardens in Prague, and there was a smell from the other side of the gardens, and we couldn't really figure out what it was. And we got over to this area where the smell was so strong. And we found a gardener and said, what's that smell?" And she said, "Oh, Pavlovnia, Pavlovnia, Pavlovnia," and pointed at the tree. So I was like, "Oh, brilliant!" And then I got back to the UK and found, after a lot of digging, that it's actually called the Paulonia tree. And the
Oh,
smell of the flowers of a Paulonia tree are the most amazing scent I have ever smelt in a garden or in the wild.
fantastic.
They're they're they grow in Butte Park, where we run our courses in South Wales and a few of the other places that I run courses. And although they're not edible, whenever they're in flower, I'll take the group over to them just to smell the amazing smell of the
Oh,
Paulonia.
wow.
So the common name of that is foxglove tree, for anyone
Oh,
that...
there you go. Yeah, the
Oh, is
flowers.
it?
I
Oh, right. Thanks,
love
Mark.
flowers. I didn't know the common name. So brilliant. Yeah, the foxglove tree then.
All right.
Flowers are sort of spiked like a foxglove, so...
Yeah, and well, a lot smellier than a foxglove.
Yeah, because foxgloves don't really smell.
No.
And then the final one, what would you want your foraging legacy to be?
My foraging legacy. Uh, he didn't poison anyone.
They
And
all
I haven't yet.
survived.
Brilliant.
No,
Absolutely brilliant.
I like the fact that I've been now, because I've been doing it for so long. I've taught children. We've taken out from the very beginning. We let under 12-year-olds on all our courses for free, because I feel like what we do connects children with nature that not many other things can. We've all got to eat, and kids, getting them out into the woods and showing them where food comes from and teaching them about. I feel like what we do is teach people about nature, and I've had the really heartwarming rewards of people getting in touch with me saying, when I went out on a course with you when I was 12, and now I'm studying botany and things like that.
Sure.
Amazing.
That's, to me, that's the most amazing part of my job, is teaching children about nature,
Yeah.
really.
Brilliant.
And I do as many kids groups as I can because of that.
And that
Fantastic.
should be on the curriculum because it's just everybody should know that, and we used to know that, and it's just a lost art now.
Yeah, and kids are. There's a lot to foraging because it's good for your mind, it's good for your body, it's good for your general well-being. It ticks the 5 different boxes for mental health. So sharing, being present in the moment, mental exercise, physical exercise, and fresh air and being out in nature. And yeah, it's but I mean, people sell forest bathing now. What's that? It's just going sitting in a forest, and
Yeah.
that's going to make you feel better. I'd rather go for a little bit of a walk at the same time and learn about the plants that I was bathing in amongst, and that's what we do.
We've just had a quick question come in from Amanda. What would be the top of your bucket list for the mushroom that you haven't found yet?
Oh, mushroom that I haven't found yet. I would like to be the first person in the UK to find a Caesar's mushroom, Amanita caesarea. It's a very popular edible on the continent, and it's never been found in the UK, although there are suspicions that it might grow over here. So I would like to find that one in the UK and be the first person to do it. We've set a few little. We were the first person to find a Rubino Boletus rubinus in Carmarthenshire. So we've done a few things things like that. But I'd like to find I'd like to find the Amanita caesarea in the wild in the UK. Prove.
Brilliant. If you find it, make sure you come on and tell us.
Well, will do, Jamie. No problem.
Marlow, I've absolutely loved this nearly last 2 hours. It's been fantastic.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much. And just mention your website again so everybody can go on and have a look.
Yeah, it's wildfooduk.com. So all our courses are on there, our books are on there. So if you're interested, we've also got our mailing list on there where we email you once a month telling you what to go foraging for that month, what's in season, and then you'll get maybe 1 or 2 other emails in the month telling you where we're running courses and things like that. We're also on FaceNosh, Twitter, YouTube, and all of the other different horrible social media platforms. Which,
And this is our 100th podcast.
oh wow!
And it's your,
Congratulations,
thank you
guys!
very much. And it's your
Big
first, and it's your first live. It's our 100th and your first.
Oh wow! I'm so privileged. That's amazing. Well done, guys. That's
Thank you
brilliant.
very much.
It's been a good one, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's been really good.
Well,
Thank you so
congratulations,
much.
both of you. I won't denigrate social media anymore on this.
Cheers, mate. So it will be put out as a podcast on Spotify and everything on Friday, won't it, Mark, as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you'll see, in a little while, you'll see a thing come up on your Instagram saying, do you want to collaborate? And then it'll be on your grid as well, if you accept it.
Okay. You might have to talk me through that. But when
Just
you
accept. When you see something pop up in about 10 minutes, just press accept and that'll do it all for you.
I've got in so much trouble doing that in the past. All right, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, thank you. Cheers, mate.
Congratulations on show number 100. May there be
Cheers,
another
buddy.
100 more.
Fingers crossed.
Thanks, mate. See you later.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I've just noticed I'm in pitch black.
Yeah, you've done a me.
Yes. I need to go anyway. I've got about 2% left on my battery. So, yeah, thanks, everybody. We'll let you get off because it's been a long one. And, yeah, see you next week.
See you next week for episode number 101.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Through the Garden Gate.